Hey guys, so in today's video, I thought that I would share some scenario-based job interview questions for the special education paraprofessional job interview, because I know a few of you had asked recently or farther in the past about me talking through some more job interview type questions for special education paraprofessional jobs. And so these are the scenario based type questions. And what I'm going to do, if you see me looking this way, I have some scenario based questions written down on my phone. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question and then I'm going to talk about what they might be looking for, what your interviewers might be looking for by asking these types of questions. So scenario number one. A student with autism is having a meltdown in the middle of class. How would you respond? So this could be responded to in a multitude of different ways. What your job interviewer might be looking for is that you understand de-escalation techniques, the type or amount of patience that you have, and your ability to follow a behavior intervention plan. So this particular student might have a behavior intervention plan, and being able to show that you understand what a behavior intervention plan is and how to follow it could definitely help you with this type of a situation. So make sure that before you go into your job interview, that you do some research into different types of behavior intervention plans and what they may include, and talk through those types of things. Scenario number two, a student refuses to complete their assigned task and becomes disruptive. What would you do? So in this situation, what your interviewer might be looking for is strategies or techniques for motivating the student, how to redirect a student, and how to maintain a positive learning environment. So again, these could be answered in a multitude of different ways, but there are a lot of different techniques that you can do some research on prior to having your interview that might be helpful. Like, you could actually Google or research strategies for motivating a student to complete their homework or their classwork, how to redirect a student. And I've talked about these in previous videos on my channel. So if you guys want some more videos talking about this, definitely let me know. I have a soft spot in my heart for special education and special needs students. So definitely let me know if that is something that you would like to see more of on my channel. Scenario number three, a student with ADHD is constantly getting out of their seat and interrupting lessons. How would you support them? So what this interviewer might be looking for by asking this question is knowledge of accommodations like movement breaks, fidget tools, or any type of structured reinforcement. So I will tell you that working with the students that I worked with, we had a plan where if the student completed a certain number of tasks, they would be rewarded with a movement break. Now, that movement break was dependent on how many tasks the students completed, or participated in, whether it was like a reading circle or completing a worksheet, something like that. So if they completed a certain number of tasks, they would get a short walk. If they completed even more tasks, they would get a long walk, which was just a walk around the elementary school or a walk around the entire school. And it just depended on how many activities or tasks that student completed. Okay, so the next scenario, a teacher gives you instructions for supporting a student, but you believe a different approach might work better. How would you handle this? So what your interviewer might be looking for with this is your ability to communicate professionally with the teacher or other coworkers, how you respect authority, and ways that you could collaborate effectively. So being able to have a conversation that could benefit your student, being able to talk through things that you know might work better for the student that you work with daily or students, and how to communicate what you think might be helpful with the teacher or other paraprofessional that might work a little bit better than what they're currently using. That sounded really confusing, so hopefully that made sense. The next scenario, you're assigned to work with multiple students, but one student requires more attention than expected. How do you manage your time effectively? So what the interviewer might be looking for here is how you prioritize tasks, your level of flexibility or ability to be flexible, and your problem-solving skills. So the next scenario is a parent approaches you with concerns about their child's progress. How do you handle the situation? So what the interviewer might be looking for here is your professionalism, the ability to handle confidential situations, and an appropriate referral to the teacher. So I will tell you that in a lot of situations, schools would prefer parents to talk to the teachers or a special education coordinator about their students' progress if they have concerns, or just in general, they would prefer that you don't speak to the paraprofessionals working with the students if you are a parent. So I will tell you, if you are a parent, that might be why the paraprofessional refers you to the student's teacher or the student's special education coordinator. The school that I worked in, we had a strong relationship with the parents because it was such a small school district. Well, it wasn't a small school district, it was a small school, and a lot of people knew each other. We each had a strong relationship with the students' parents, and so they didn't have a problem with the paraprofessionals answering questions or giving information about how their students were doing. But it may be different at whatever school district that you are trying to work at. So just make sure that you mention that you would refer them to the teacher or the special education coordinator. Next scenario, a general education teacher doesn't seem to understand the needs of a student with an IEP. How would you support them? So an IEP is an individualized education plan, and this could include many different things depending on the student and what their specific needs are. So what the interviewer might be looking for here is advocacy for the student's ability to explain different accommodations and your teamwork skills. So just keep that in mind. One particular student might need a certain type of accommodation or accommodations, while another student might not need those same accommodations and they might need something completely different. And that is totally dependent on each student's particular needs. That's why it's called an individualized education plan. It is totally dependent on that particular student's needs when it comes to their education. Okay, so the next scenario is a student has a medical emergency, such as a seizure or allergic reaction while in your care. What do you do? So this is going to, what this interviewer might be looking for is your knowledge of emergency protocols and your ability to stay calm in emergency situations and how you would handle an emergency situation. So knowing your basic first aid, how to do CPR, mention what you would do. Mention how you would handle, like if they have a seizure, knowing how to take care of a person who's having a seizure, knowing to call for the nurse, or if your school doesn't have a nurse, knowing who to contact, which is another reason why at the school that I worked at, special education paraprofessionals each had a walkie-talkie or a radio where we could radio for help if we needed. So just keep that in mind. The next scenario is a student who usually follows directions is suddenly withdrawn and refuses to participate. How do you respond? What this interviewer might be looking for is your sensitivity to emotional or mental health needs, as well as appropriate intervention based on those needs. And so this is something else to take into consideration because mental health is definitely something that's very important. And students who are not the same as other students might be getting bullied, or they might have other things going on at home that they're having trouble dealing with. So you just have to keep in mind how you could help them deal with those mental health needs as appropriate. So there are some other scenarios that I wrote down, but I think I'm going to end this video there. If you guys would like more scenario-based questions for job interviews, whether it is special education related, CNA related, phlebotomy related, medical assistant related, I can definitely make those videos as well. Hopefully this helped someone. Let me know if you guys have any other topics you would like to hear me talk about on my channel, and I will talk to you guys in my next video.